for a Hecarim ban, because then you lock in the Hecarim, right? But Afreeca's going to wait till the very end. And now we probably will have an Udyr pick up here for Kroko. His Udyr has actually been good. He is one of the players that utilizes it well. It's not a situation where the Udyr gets picked and then he does nothing and you just feel kind of sad and upset and nothing ever really gets done. No, come.
A moment of silence. I heard the collective groan from the Korean cast as well. Blind Pick Gnar did not work out for you in game number 1. It doesn't matter if you ban the Renekton.
Listen, if they...
Yes, Dread doesn't have Lilia.
If they lock in Kai'Sa on the next rotation... I don't know, Valdez.
Well, you know one thing.
Listen,
Maybe they're not making.
It's I'm gonna go there. It's just no, don't do it. Come on, man.
Yeah.
And it's, listen, in a vacuum, it makes sense. If it works at the first game, even though it's not great, sure. But you've literally been punished for this exact thing, right? Like, yes, that matchup gets somewhat playable once you get your targets. Yes, you have all-in pressure, sure. I get it, but you've seen that you will get punished by Dread and Keen.
It's also Keen's chase.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the guy is insane on this one pick that is really awesome into your blind pick. So I think in general that should just kind of turn down the priority on that pick a bunch.
What about Irelia? Right, I can see Keen lock that in. Like, that wouldn't surprise me though either.
Yeah.
Honestly, if they lock in the Kai'Sa here. Oh my god.
There you go. There you go. Ezreal. Okay.
Okay. Valdez.
Prince gets his Ezreal.
We're saved. Oh my god.
83% win rate.
Listen, I was expecting it so much. This is a really interesting pick here, because this basically is saying that no matter what, the Ezreal's not going to be able to punish us. And the Sivir can be either the lethal tempo Sivir or it can be the more aggressive Sivir, as they're not going to go for it. Just going to pick up Rel
or
no.
Jinx.
I don't love that.
Jinx is something that if it gets into a really late game scenario and it's kind of like an all-in fight, maybe you can shut down the Ezreal and you do more consistent damage.
But you ban Tahm Kench here and then you have a Jinx with no peel.
Yes.
Oh, rather,
in a vacuum, yes.
Rather, that's what I expect will happen. However, we've seen that these drafts, Valdez, are a roller coaster for anyone really, but specifically for me as, okay, listen.
Orianna.
The fact that the Ezreal's picked up at least tells me that Liiv Sandbox have learned, and I'm willing to give them a little bit more the benefit of the doubt. I still think that this Gnar blind pick is not the way. I'm not loving it. I'm not a fan. I don't want to see it again, but they have decided that that's the way they want to go. And unironically, the Gnar wasn't the problem, right? It wasn't the solution, but Summit actually did decently well. Like, he was the one who played well. It's more the rest of them are crumbling. And with them securing a better matchup in the bot lane here, one where presumably they won't get all in, please ban the Kench, by the way. It's looking a lot better. Because I feel like if you are going to go for another, like, backline dive, all-in composition, maybe pick up like a Syndra and you don't ban the Tahm Kench. I don't... Please.
Well, they take away the Rel, and it's something that offers you some hard engage. I thought maybe they would ban the Victor if they weren't going to ban the Tahm Kench, just because...
Maybe they... listen, maybe they won't pick it, right? Like, Afreeca, honestly, putting the hands on something like a Kench doesn't feel great, is what I think. But if anyone has seen a T1 game where Carrier literally got player of the game because Kench was so insane, and I don't know how to feel about this. Now, you can combo the Ezreal with something that might provide you with a lot of prio. The Gragas is a kind of a different approach where you do have a lot of all-in potential, you still get the utility and the power, and I think Gragas is actually a really good pick into Jinx. The displacement is super hard for it to deal with. The same can be said for Dread and for Victor. So this Gragas pick is actually a smash hit. And honestly, okay, listen, I'm on board with this. I quite like this. Not as much.
Listen,
if you pick
Chronicler,
it's fine.
We have 5 picks in the mid lane in the LCK. Okay, I'm sorry that they're not gonna pick Kench. Go outside of that.
They're gonna pick, like, I don't know. There's not a lot of supports.
Nautilus
or
something with hard engage.
Yeah, Alistair. Could happen.
Could be good.
Yeah. Maybe they go for like Braum. You know, if you I wouldn't mind that.
You know?
Yeah.
Lulu. Okay.
Actually,
all right.
I like that. You know, it's not quite Tom Kench. I think that Tom Kench into the Liiv Sandbox combo is just insane. But what the Lulu does provide you is a lot more pressure in the lane, right? However, the one thing that is somewhat of a threat is that I think if Croco visits, Effort Gragas has been insanely good throughout basically ever since he started picking it up. And you are, without a Kench, super vulnerable to the hard engage coming out from Effort, which is where he's excelled the most. Prince is also on a comfortable carry. But if I look at this game, you know what I'm seeing, Veldas? I'm still seeing who wins the early 2v2. That's all that matters. And I think, yet again, it's going to be Afreeca.
That is sometimes all that matters, Mao. And, Chronicler, rather. And you know what? It's kind of all that mattered in the first game. So, can Afreeca win the early game hard once again and get their top lane so far ahead that maybe even the bottom side of the map doesn't even matter as much? We'll have to wait and see, as they do have the pieces to do it here once again. We were talking in between the break about Fly's Victor, how, you know, you can't really punish that. Fly was just able to sit back, and he has been a weak spot from time to time here for Afreeca, but he just kind of sailed through in game 1. I think he can kind of do the same thing here in game 2.
The one thing I like about the composition from Afreeca, considering how they played last game, is that I would expect them to get a lead in the early game. Playing this comp with a lead early on is super nice, right? Because you have so much poke, and the Lulu actually does provide you with a considerable amount of safety if the enemy doesn't find an all-in.
Yeah.
Problem is, Liiv Sandbox, they're really good at finding the all-in, right? And they have the tools, a single scatter, Effort finding the enemy backline, and it can all of a sudden be turned around. Think back to earlier tonight when Becca, it didn't influence the game at all, but the pick that he found into the enemy backline, right? Like with the Gragas, it's a champion that just does that so incredibly well. And I find this, after the first game, I'm not entirely sure what to expect, Veldas, in both a positive and a negative sense. So I'd rather just watch and see what happens. I think that's best for my sanity.
Oftentimes the best thing to do. Just let it play out, see how it goes. You know, we know what tools Afreeca has to get ahead in the early game on the top side of the map. If they can punish Summit once again alongside of Croco up there, would feel pretty nice.
On the
flip
flip
side,
ahead,
as you mentioned, a pretty nice comp to play with.
On the flip side, if Liiv Sandbox find a lead, then it becomes super oppressive to play against as well, because they will be able to force continuously, right? Because basically, actually not basically, literally everyone on the side of Afreeca is vulnerable to a Gragas cask. The only one is the Dread, who's probably fast enough that it doesn't matter, but outside of that, if you don't have flash and Effort engages on you, you're 100% dead. And Afreeca themselves have basically no engage. And yes, the poke damage will be considerable, but all of these things mean that if Afreeca don't find an early game lead, they're in for a really rough time here.
Yeah, maybe that's what we see. I mean, you were mentioning both these teams play a similar style. Liiv Sandbox can certainly get ahead in the early game. I'm really curious to see how Prince's Ezreal is going to do, right? He is not the only player in the LCK that can play Ezreal, of course. We have guys like Ruler, Dev, dude, Bang can pick it up, right? Teddy, you know, the list goes on and on. But he is the one guy that is consistently playing it and is winning with it a lot on a team that's not winning a lot in general. And that's exciting for me, especially for a player that hasn't seen much fame or notoriety or anything just yet. Everybody's like, oh, he's kind of the new guy, and you know, he's been a little bit underwhelming. To see him come out on this pick and constantly perform has been really cool to see.
And we joke around a lot, right? And I think there is valid criticism to be had of some of the drafting decisions that have been made, as well as some of the tilt that was very apparent with Liiv Sandbox. Similarly to how we kind of criticize Afreeca for their great early game and then less stellar subsequently everything, really. But there is a reason why these two teams are the weaker teams of the LCK, right? And it's because we want to see them do well. We want to see them progress and we want to see them develop. And both these two teams have showed moments of progression, have showed moments of development. And I just want to see it stick, Veldas. I want to see them actually be better. So if Afreeca take a super dominant 2-0 here with a stellar early game, I'm happy. If Liiv Sandbox can learn from game number 1 and turn it around, I'm happy as well.
Oh, Dread gonna face check on in here. Keen is trying to help out. Here's the 2v2 we were looking for. The damage comes out, and Afreeca get first blood again. Another stun comes in, and it doesn't look like Dread and Keen are gonna push the issue. They take that first blood, and they run away with it.
And yet again, it is Afreeca that wins the early 2v2, and this time, gold lead, super big. There's no kill getting traded back. The only upside is that Summit can get back to his way, but Croco opting into this early 2v2 with your Gnar, I can't, it's not okay.
He's dead. Keen went back, bought items, Summit stuck around, and he just got one-tapped. He had no items he hadn't bought because he stuck around in the lane.
He flashed as well.
Yep.
Listen, come on, teams. I just gave my spiel, and I know I want to see these teams develop. I want to see them do well. There's nothing I'd rather see than see LCK teams develop into stronger, more well-rounded teams, and instead, the punish that comes out continuously is just insane here from Afreeca Freecs. There's a reason why this team has insane early game stats.
Yeah.
And this is the first time that we've really seen Summit be, well, top gapped. It's not something you see very often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and keep in mind, this was first pick 2 games in a row for Liiv Sandbox. They clearly had faith in Summit to be able to blind pick into Keen, of all people, the Gnar. So the fact that it's not working out feels even worse for the side of Liiv Sandbox. 2 games in a row now. And we'll have to wait and see if he can stabilize in any way. But now you've got Dread, who's a kill ahead. He's probably going to get some nice objective control. Summit is about to hit Mega Gnar here. He's not level 6, but the damage might just be enough. He flashes away from the Wallop, and the one last auto will do it. No flash available now, but no ghost available for Croco. He's going to try to hit the undertow. He misses both, and now I think Croco's just dead. What a disaster. He's trying to trade it back, but that's just going to be the end of that. 3 kills in a row for Keen, as it could not get worse for Liiv Sandbox. Afreeca are stomping them in the top lane.
This is a fall from grace if I've ever seen one, Valdez. Oh my God. Liiv Sandbox, this is the pressure, right? Like, this is having your fate in your own hands and not being able to deal with it because...
Yeah. He's back.
Dead.
Oh, look at the votes coming out from Fly. Dread takes 4 turret shots. He doesn't care. He got the job done. You're watching a team that's playing with 0 pressure and is having fun, laughing before the matches, taking it easy, play a very nice game versus a team who has all of the pressure to succeed, to try to make playoffs. They still have a chance, and they are failing in every way. And it does feel like it is a bit to the pressure because Liiv Sandbox, we've seen, are a better team than this.
It makes me sad to watch because, as you say, these players are better than this. Like, I think it's honestly, it's a discredit from Summit and Croco to themselves because they've been so good. They've been the win conditions, the sole win conditions, right, for this team. And this is the knowledge that we had as well, where Croco and Summit know we need to win, right? And that knowledge, that pressure, it does weird things with you, and we can see it here. It's just, this is the, I think, 3rd or 4th time that Croco overforces trying to get a kill without any vision, without any backup, without any possibility of getting anything done. And Afreeca, they are truly unleashed. If Fate doesn't find that scatter, he is 100% dead there, by the way. I think Fly could have just flashed that and killed him. But Fly don't want to take risks, and it's also not necessary when you know you have the pajama there on call.
The weird guy that runs around the rift with his pajamas on, yeah. We all know him. Uzier.
No, it's not.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No, exactly. Joke never gets old. And I honestly, I still hope that Liiv Sandbox make it back, because again, I feel like these players have more in them than what we're seeing here. But with a lead already this substantial, I don't know if they can do it. I think that Dread and Keen are just going to take over the entire map. Keen was...
It does feel that way.
Topping damage charts earlier on, and this time there is no one getting a big CS lead in the bot lane because both AD carries will stay there. But I think that as Afreeca, you can just move it to the jungle. You can just take over everything.
Okay, nice engage from Effort, but he's level 5. No cast comes through. Fly still has his flash, and he just kites them out perfectly. It's exactly what you said about Victor before. Just loves when he can kite away the enemy. And that's flash and exhaust expended by Effort. The fight doesn't go their way. They find no picks. And now Afreeca should be able to take down this Rift Herald for free. Victor and Lulu having fun. The best of pals.
It's just... And coming into this game, I joked about, you know, Afreeca, sometimes they're their own worst enemy, right? They play really well, and then they kind of get stuck underneath the pressure, get stuck under everything they need to do. And these players as well, I don't think it's
He's back.
I think they're dead.
Well, they're both diving in here. The damage is insane out of Dread and Keen at this point in time. Dread makes his way back. This might be pushing it, but you know, he gets the kill. And that's going to be a lot of plates here for free over to Keen. There's no teleport for Summit, and this is Jace alone in the lane.
It's 100% worth.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is heartbreaking, right? Because this is a Liiv Sandbox where coming in today, I was excited. I thought this team, you know, like they've looked rough, but recently they looked a lot better. Their early game has been gunning more consistent. And you can just see, again, like now the desperation play comes through. Effort has been level 5 for a really long time. They're just trying to desperately get something done. And it makes sense as well because Liiv Sandbox is not a team that's used to playing from behind. They're a team that wins the early game and then the troubles begin. And Afreeca are in a similar position, but Afreeca, they're playing like 5 free men. There's no pressure on them.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what they do here. They can, however, make sure that they don't end up in 10th place. And if I'm seeing them play like this, I'm like, actually, you know, you deserve it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, they are playing some really great League of Legends here, especially on the top side of the map. It's been nothing but a huge top and jungle gap here in a couple of games in a row. And maybe it just took another early game team to shut down the early game power of Liiv Sandbox. We talked about who the best early game team in the LCK is. You know, if it's not Balmond Pia, it's probably Afreeca. And they have proven that here a couple games in a row, so good stuff. As we're going to have this crash come through, all the plates will go to Dread. But still getting the value out of that Rift Herald is nice.
Now, is this game 100% over? Of course not. There are still ways for Liiv Sandbox to make it back, but this gold lead is bordering on insurmountable. We see Afreeca, they take over complete control of the enemy bot side jungle. They're going to get the first dragon of the game, which is a rather late one, but there's still 100-0 potential, but that's when we start taking a look at, okay, but you talk about 100-0, there's a Lulu on the enemy team.
Oh, he's just killing him under the turret. The immediate follow flash here, as it cannot get more one-sided up there, up 2 levels. We also have a kill, or rather a fight, going on down here in the bottom side. Fly nearly gets picked off by that Droop Shot Barrage, but that's the only thing that Afreeca have going for them. It's a double kill now for Bang, who picked up a plate earlier as well. This is just Afreeca in one of the most one-sided early games they've had, all split.
Heartbreaking. Honestly, for Liiv Sandbox, but for Afreeca, it is a redemption story that comes just a little bit too late, right? Because this is the team that we've been waiting for the entire split. And yes, it's against a weaker opponent, but unironically, this is not that different from early games that Afreeca have had in the past. Yes, this gold lead is a little bit superfluous. Normally, they wouldn't necessarily hit these marks, or they wouldn't hit this impact, because you can see Liiv Sandbox, they're floundering, they're trying to force things that they shouldn't be able to force, considering the position that they're in. But it's understandable because this is their play of dreams that is just slipping away from them in front of their very eyes. And on the side of Afreeca, all the good parts about Afreeca are still there, right? Dread is a monster. Keen is an insane solo killer who also is able to just push leads to the utmost extent. But the problems are kind of gone. And I was talking about, yes, you have all-in, that's great, but there's a Lulu on the enemy team. A Lulu with Guardian, a Lulu that has both heal, because the cleanse was taken by Bang, as well as wild growth. You're never going to 100-0 someone. And I was talking about the Kench, I still think could have been a good pick. But Lulu, honestly, in this situation where you're this far behind as Liiv Sandbox and you have to throw everything into one person, just try and make it work, has as much, if not more value.
Yeah, it's been looking good so far, as there's no ward over the wall, actually, so they can see Fly, actually, from the one in the mid lane. But here comes Dread. He's like, oh, whoa, what did I just walk into? A little bit awkward here. Gonna try to find Fate as well, as Dread will be able to secure that kill alongside of Fly, who does get the last hit. And now, just, you know, start the trumpets. We got the cast. Actually does a nice job on the Fly, who is forced to flash away. As now Keen is just a menace. Nice hit into the wall, though. They might be able to 100 to 0 him, and they do, finally. But only at the expense of all of their lives. And so they do get the shutdown onto Keen, but now Fly's got a huge spree going. And it is only Afreeca getting miles ahead once again.
These are the worst types of game, Valdez, if you're in this. Because imagine knowing you got to play this one out, you got to try, you got to look for opportunities. Is that what they're doing here?
Look at this.
Yeah, I mean, he spots them, right, with his sweeper. So he's actually had the opportunity to sidestep. And then you have a situation where, honestly, even if they hit that body slam, I don't think Dread dies. He is a level 9 Udyr that is super fed. I don't think there's a world in which that ends well. And then you see the problem as well with the Syndra already getting taken down. There's nothing the Sandbox can do. They blow everything on a single person. Yes, Keen goes down in the end, but you don't have anything, right? You don't have enough damage. The Lulu provides a ton of survivability. And then you're looking at Bang, who's just free farming in the bot lane. The one tiny little upside here is that Prince is doing good. But that's like,
yeah,
you know, it's like you make a sandcastle and then the sea's like slowly coming in, and you place like, you try and dig like a very tiny like trench in front of it, and then you hope that the sea kind of ignores your sandcastle, but the sea won't. And Afreeca,
it is inevitable, you could say.
Yes, and so are Afreeca, seemingly here in this game.
Yeah, well, Summit, you can tell he's not very happy. Trying to go 1v1 on a Fly here. I don't think he would have even won 1v1. And that's just going to be a 6th death in this case. It's almost as if he can feel the playoffs slipping away through his fingers, like a sandcastle, perhaps, to go back to that metaphor.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was...
I had to do something with it, you know.
Wow. Because it was so bad in of itself?
Yeah.
I thought it was okay.
No, it was okay.
I'm sorry.
It was all right. No, it was okay.
No, I mean, if you really don't like, that's okay, you know? I'm open to constructive criticism. If you'd rather have me find better metaphors, then I need to know that.
Well, you have some time before the next cast, right? You go on Sunday, right? So... I'll have Atlas report back.
Listen, note taken. I'll keep that in mind.
And, wow, he's already level 12. We are really going to watch this replay. There's not much else going on here. It's a very fast pajama man. Look at his face.
It's actually terrifying. It's actually... Oh my god, I'm gonna
staring into the void.
He's staring into your soul, Valdez.
Yeah. Wow, definitely not Udyr is much more terrifying than I actually imagined. Summit, maybe this is a matchup that's a little bit more even, as he is going to just flash away, and now definitely not Udyr's back. And there's a rocket in his back as well. Just gonna let the AoE damage from the Phoenix stance kill him. Not a good feel if you are a Liiv Sandbox fan at this point. 10,000 gold, 17 minutes.
Like I said, heartbreaking, the only right word. I hope that Liiv Sandbox fans, if they are out there, please send your play as a word of support, because these are painful losses, Valdez. Like we can talk around it, but it's unfortunately Liiv Sandbox that's just not able to deal with the pressure, whereas understandably Afreeca are like, well guys, ready to join us in the not making playoffs gang?
Yeah, it's actually it's kind of an interesting way to look at it, but yeah. Keep in mind, guys, if Liiv Sandbox do lose 2-0 here, they're not 100% out, but according to our ELO system, they have a 3% chance, which is not very good.
No.
Lehens, it seems like Summit is not going to make the same mistake 4 times in a row, and he will let him go. Liiv Sandbox would need both Nongshim and KT to lose by 0-2, I believe, even. And I don't have the numbers exactly in front of me about how they would make it, but we're gonna take another look at Pajama Man.
No, I don't want to see it again. I don't want to look into his eyes. Oh no.
We almost got there, but then Jonas Strong saved us. Here comes Fate. He's actually gonna kill the Lulu, probably, I think. Yeah, there we go. The Unleashed Power comes in. That is a big rocket onto Fate, as now Effort is going to find Fly. There's another kill, and you know what? Ezreal's got a kill.
Okay, listen. This is the solo queue special.
Oh no!
Got so fat.
He's back! Is Pajama Man again?
I didn't even get the chance to finish my joke. It's the solo queue special where your enemies get so fat that they start messing around, and then...
Yeah, you know. That's actually a thing.
And then you win, right? Like, maybe you can let them take an inhibitor early, and then you can try and farm up, but it's all so bleak. Valdez, that's really the problem here. As this is non-ironically a really nice play coming out here from Liiv Sandbox. Fly and Lahen's not really allowed to be there, go super deep, and it's actually a really nice kill on top of Fade, who can definitely use it, and also a shutdown on Prince. And I guess if Prince gets like free, yeah, I think if he gets like a couple more shutdowns, then maybe he can, I don't know, deal with Dread possibly at some point, but...
Yeah, I mean, 850 is almost 3 kills, right? So instead of 1-0, think about the Ezreal as 3-0, right? So, who knows? You know, it's not that far. You know, he's probably ahead of the Jinx. No, probably not. Not at this point in time, but you know, close, okay.
That is... And you know, if this is, if you're an Afreeca fan, if you haven't followed any of the Liiv Sandbox games, understandable. Summon and Croco usually are the highlight of this team. And I think that Fate and Prince and Effort, like, they've all been ramping up. But when you ask people, like, what are the strong points, right? Like a player like Croco that came in with relatively little hype, that has really been, while inconsistent, one of the stronger junglers this splits, and then you just see this, and you're like, oh no, that is not how you want your split to end. On the other end though, because we keep going on about Liiv Sandbox, but Afreeca, this is a victory. This is not one victory lap, this is multiple victory laps.
Yeah, they're going in here. That's a really nice scout of the week. Fly is just gonna die, but it is a trade kill over to Bang. We'll probably take that. They got the shutdown onto Fly before. But still a 1-for-1. Gonna secure the blue buff, all right. Still down more than 10,000 gold, but you know, this is one way to try to make it work. There is a ward now spotting them going onto the Baron.
Well, there is a timeline in which Liiv Sandbox still win this. Maybe we spoke too soon. I don't think there's many, but in the infinite universes, there's gotta be one. I don't know.
Are we living in that one?
I don't think so, Valdez, but we gotta keep our mind open for the possibility.
Call on the train. Kind of what's happening here. Dread is just over the wall, and Fly gets a little bit, you know, he's having a bit of fun. We were talking about that solo queue thing before.
Oh, that's
it's actually a skill, right?
100%.
Where you like bait the enemy team into having too much fun. You know, like you let yourself get caught out a little bit in an insignificant way, and you're like, hey, you know, why don't you have a little bit too much fun, and maybe we can come back. But fortunately for Liiv Sandbox, this isn't solo queue. Afreeca is a pro team, and as long as they, you know, don't make so many mistakes in a row, they still should be fine.
Now, because as Afreeca, if you need a game plan here, you want to play it 100% safe, use your poke, set up control within X, like they're doing right now, set up control in the jungle, right? Play for Baron. If they come, you just turn, you throw your poke at them, take them down with the immense gold lead that you have at the moment, as well as item lead. Play for Mountain Drakes, because once those come through, the 1 week edition for Liiv Sandbox, which is blow someone up in basically one rotation, right, with a scatter or a Gnar ultimate, and then just go from there. And that's literally it. That's your option. Come on, Fly. Oh no.
I think he's okay. We have a little bit of a flank coming in, but I think Fly will die first. He's trying to trade it back on a Fate. There's going to be the kill. Dread is kind of alone in the back here. He is going to get that one, as Summit is getting incredibly low as well. They're trying to isolate Lahen's here, but he does have the help from Jinx to get the damage down. Lehens will die, but the rest of Liiv Sandbox probably will follow suit, as double kill will go over to Bang, and only Prince remains once again. Maybe now they would go for the Baron.
There's nothing you can do, I think, as Prince. Maybe you will go for it. I think with the flash you have some space.
Might as well, right?
Why not? I don't... Yeah, no, I agree.
Just give it a shot.
Gotta give it a go. Maybe this is the timeline where this actually works out. But I see those health bars and I'm thinking, nope.
Oh no. Oh, he lives. And yeah, he levels up, and I don't think the burn would have killed him. But it was close. It was very close. He gave it a shot. It wasn't enough.
So, seen any good movies lately?
You want to break down the analysis of this one?
It's honestly, it's an insurmountable. I know you're being facetious, but I'm gonna humor you anyway. Here's what you see, because this actually in a normal game, this is a good play by Liiv Sandbox. I think you find an overextension here, and then you blow up the Victor, and then you go from there. Unfortunately for them, the item deficits at this point are so insanely big that unless you find every single member individually, you're never going to win a fight, because there's just too much damage, there's too much tankiness, there's too much everything available here. As Afreeca, I picked the Baron, they've picked up the Drake. Honestly, as Afreeca, I do not fault you, just play it. Wait for the next Drake. Well, I'm not even kidding.
They're going to try to kill Dread here. Okay, the flash over the wall. Maybe they will actually be able to get him. As the cast does come through, now he's trying to run away from the scatter, and he's not going to be able to. So they do get the definitely not Udyr, but at the same time, they're losing their turret in the mid lane.
If Prince can finish Sherelda's Grudge, and he can actually get through these health bars and maybe poke, and not get hit by any of the poke from Afreeca, maybe? I actually honestly think that if Afreeca are not able to get more, then this inhibitor could be a net gain for Liiv Sandbox. Unfortunately, they should be able to get more. The poke is absolutely disgusting. And this is a comically large gold lead that we have here at 25 minutes coming through from Afreeca, who...
You know, it is 5v4. You can see the efforts trying to make it work, but it's pretty rough. The Chomper's on the ground.
It's not 5v4, it's still 5v5, might even be 5v6 just from the amount of money available on Afreeca. No, I'm not, non-ironically, the item advantage is at least one more player. And with the scaling available on champions like Victor and Jinx, with a Lulu, it's even more.
Yeah, that's true. The scaling factor is something that we haven't even really gotten a chance to talk about, just because of the amount of death and destruction that came out here. That it didn't matter what the comps were at this point, it just mattered that you killed them that many times. And yeah, Dread's back here. You can see that he's really fast, but actually it is a little bit difficult to get away from Summit from time to time. He doesn't have Baron buff, so actually his minions aren't insurmountable, although Summit does have to be careful about Dread's damage, as he does try to escort this wave through, and that's going to be the kill on the Summit. As here we go, Baron buff is down, and do they have the damage from Prince is really the question. Effort is going to survive. Prince is really trying to make it happen, hopping forward, and they've baited them in, but oh man. Oh man, the damage coming out from Afreeca. Bang is just a one-man army at this point in time. Triple kill comes out from him. Had a little help from his friends. As Afreeca don't really care, they're just going to take the game.
Afreeca scarred by many a defeat, take it as slow as they humanly could. But it makes sense in the context of what we've seen from them this split. Redemption games coming through here from Bang. But in the end, as a whole, it's Afreeca who get a win that for them means that I think